Right, hello, welcome. Sunday Speedrunner Spotlight, back at it again for like the 70th week in a row. The number is large, as I have to keep pointing out, which every time I point it out just means it's even larger than last time. That's how it goes. Anyway, welcome Cantaloupe me to the stream. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me on.
No problem. I'm excited to talk about some speed running. It's a good topic of conversation.
Yeah, it's something we both know pretty well.
I'd like to think so. So
Yeah, we have a little experience.
just a little bit, not too
Nice.
much. But yeah, we can just go ahead and kick things off with the obvious first question of what got you started with it.
Well, back in 2014, I was leaving the rock band community. I was involved with Rock Band Guitar Hero for many years, and I was underneath a different name, not the name I go by now or the name I had before that, but
Hmm.
it was just it was a completely different name, and just I wanted to do something different on my own. I was sponsored as a rock band player, so I was like, no, I don't want to take anything from that. I want to start from ground scratch, and I was trying to figure out something to do. Well, I came across AGDQ 2014. I was like, oh wow, these people are playing games that I grew up with, and I remember the first speed run I watched was Zallard's Super Punch Out blindfolded run at that year, and I was like, how can one do this without looking at the game? And then before that was Sinister when he did just regular Punch Out and got to Tyson. And the other run that struck my mind really well that year was two more. Was Dragon Dark's Metroid Zero Mission hard mode. Hell of a run. I recommend anybody go watch that. And then, of course, the infamous four-way Super Metroid race, and that really got me interested. So I started just looking up on how to stream, and I was like, well, I'll give it a go, and I've been hooked ever since.
Hmm. I'm kind of curious about the Guitar Hero start. Like when you say sponsored, what does that mean, I guess?
Well, I did have a sponsor. I had a team owner, and then I had three other companies that were involved. All of them are no longer active.
Mm.
But I did get some. I didn't really make any cash through it, but I did get an Ion drum kit through them, and it was funny because I played the guitar on it. I didn't really do much with the drums, but there wasn't a lot of guitar tech that was coming out. So I was given an Ion drum kit, and then I actually went out to California and hung out with them one day. I flew out on my own dime, and then they took care of everything else. We went to Universal Studios, had a good old time, and I'm still friends with most of the people that I was involved with on the team to this day, and it's been some good friendships through that, and a lot of that merged in speedrunning, where I've made a lot of good connections doing this over the 10 years I've been involved.
That's really cool. It's such an interesting transition because I guess in some ways they have similarities. I mean, we've seen literally Clone Hero at GDQ, so
Mhm.
they have
Yeah,
some sort of connection at least.
yeah, I was sitting in the audience and watching that, and I was like, because I knew who Frost was, and at the time as they were known, and I was like, man, I wonder if I should go up and say hi. I was like, nah, I'll just let it go and all this. But yeah, it was definitely surreal seeing that mixed in with what I do now and what I'm involved with, and I was like, man, this is a heck of a merger, and it was entertaining as heck.
Yeah, it's just incredible what they can pull off in that game. So,
Yeah, I would stream it now, but due to copyright stuffs, and
mm,
also none of my guitars work. I was on the PS3, and it's all the DLC I have is on PS3. I have no guitars that work because the strum bars just die down over time.
yeah, I know like top players have like 20 guitars sitting somewhere, nice little
Yeah,
hoard somewhere. So, but yeah,
yeah.
it's always been interesting.
Yeah, I think I have five or six of them, and none of them work worth a damn now.
Well, that's how it goes, I guess.
Hmm.
I'm sure that translates well to speedrunning, going through controllers as well. So it's all connected.
Yes, went through several of those over the years, and it's I never thought a controller would be that important to playing a video game until I actually got into speedrunning hardcore, and it's like I'm used to my one controller. I can't play another NES game without using that NES controller. It just, I mean, I'm sure you're like that with your games, and it's like you have that one controller you just love.
Yeah, I've definitely swapped in the past, but yeah, it's really hard to get adjusted. And like even the when you replace the rubbers because they break so easily when you just overuse it, each one sometimes feels different, so it's just like you have to adjust every time. It's a pain, but got to do
Yes.
what you got to do.
And I need a really stiff directional pad for whenever I do Zelda stuff. So finding that controller with just the right feel really mattered in that.
Oh yeah. And again, so hard to find because I mean everything's third party now. You gotta there's so many different providers. It's hard to find the right one that fits your needs.
Yeah. We'll give a shout out to Sacred Oils. You can Skunky has refurbished a lot of great controllers. I have like two or three of his, and I'll tell you what, top notch. I recommend it 100% if you're into hardcore retro speedrunning.
Yeah, I'd have to look them up because I've only bought one refurbished controller from CHX like a few years ago, and I've
Hmm.
always gotten the rubbers from that Japan spell shop, I believe, the Swedish shop, I think.
Yes, I've
So,
got. I've,
but I'm always looking for like new providers and stuff and testing out other options. So, I'll have to give that a look because I have seen some of his stuff on Twitter, like the controllers that are just these art spectacles.
yeah,
So,
and that's the controller I use. He did the custom buttons for me right here. Just the different colors, but
mhm.
like the directional pad is. I mean, you can listen. It's super stiff, and that works good for one frame taps in any direction.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's amazing. It's like it would not work if you were a Tetris player because you have to push so damn hard on it. But
Yeah, Tetris players need it like super loose so they can do the rolling technique and get those inputs to register.
yeah, I attempted to learn that, and after about an hour, I was like, "Nah, I'm gonna leave that to the younger generation. I don't want to get carpal tunnel in my hand."
Yeah, I gotta imagine that is painful over long periods of time.
Yeah, they wear those gloves too. I could just imagine in their sleep, their hands are doing this motion, like constantly.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Funny, I think we have one of the same colored buttons almost, although I have a darker blue as well. But
Mm,
CHX had the colored buttons as well, so whenever I show this off, people make a comment on it, so just interesting.
yeah, and then my SNES controller, 40 watt did this one, and what's really unique is on the LNR buttons. If you listen,
Hmm.
they
Yep.
got they're mechanical.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really it's a really good feel, and it's just and then the way the once again it's this D pad's a little looser than I'd like, but other than that, I mean, it just has a good feel, and it's hard for me to run like I do Super Metroid Rando and A Link to the Past. I can't do it on any other controller but this one.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll have to figure out like what would be the perfect controller for me because I still have issues time to time with certain things, so and other certain games have like different necessities for how the controller feels. So it's all a big pain, but we figure it out eventually, I guess.
Yes, everybody comes in their own way and find what works for them.
Yep. Well, going back to the start when you said you got started with speedrunning, what game was that?
My first game I ever learned was Castlevania,
Mm.
and in fact, I did upload. That was the very first speedrun I ever did of it, and it was just a no timer, just straight up gameplay, not learning any strats or watching anything. I did. It was a deathless run, like within 17 minutes, something like that. And at the time, the record was like 11:50. I want to say 11:49. No, it was 46. KMac had it. I found out later. And then once I actually learned the strats, I was like, "Oh my, this is a lot of fun." And so I kept grinding on that for a while, and I got my sub 12. And then I just stopped grinding Castlevania, which nowadays the record's under 11 minutes because they found ways to really break the game. And then the FDS version was just broken recently with and credits warp.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's
that
like
game.
yeah, it's like seven
Lots
and
of
a half
development.
minutes. Yeah. And then the second game was Nightmare on Elm Street. I wanted to pick a game that didn't have a lot of runners, just so I can try to, do something on my own without like a major route. And over the years, we found a lot of different time saves, and we were actually in 2017. This is probably one of my favorite speedrunning moments. Myself, Jamie Eveler, Feasel, and his last GDQ run, by the way. He hasn't done one since then. And Scavenger, we did the four-player co-op for Nightmare on Elm Street. It was one of the few four-player platformer games on the NES, and it was it was a thing. So it's definitely an interesting watch. It's still the only completed four-player run of that game on video.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
guess it's not
yeah.
that popular, but
No, it's not that good of a game either. But once you learn how to play it, it's actually really good. It's got the LJN rep, but it's
mm.
actually it's just produced by LJN, but it was made by Rare, and produced
Oh.
music was produced by David Wise, and there's a lot of sound effects from Battletoads, Snake Rattle and Roll, and other games. You could tell where it's mixed in, and it flows pretty well once you understand it. And the speed run for one player, I did achieve the first I think it was sub 16 run I got, and it was like 11:58, or I mean, I'm sorry, 15:58 or something. And then Pikachu just blew me out of the water last year. I was like, okay, you can have it. I grinded long enough. And then we get into the Zelda series.
Ah, Zelda.
hmm
Well, time to get into the deep dive here, I guess.
Yeah, the good old deep dive. Started in the Zelda. I posted my first speed run. It was 100%, and it wasn't a valid submission because I didn't know the rules, and I did a death warp in it, so it's not a valid submission. There was no glitches. It was like a 61-minute run at the time that I did. Then I started streaming on Twitch, and a little more often, and started getting people from Darkwing's channel, Lack Attack's channel, Eric J. Cooper, everybody was coming in the chat, because my time was getting down there. And it was like the top three of us forever. And him and Darkwing and Lack would keep trading back the record back and forth. And I'd keep getting the third place time and just, keep getting the third place time over and over. I did during my hardcore grind of that game, I did want to say it was like close to 40,000 attempts.
Wow.
And out of those 40,000, I've finished over 1,000 runs. And my PB as it stands right now is a 28:34. The record is now held by Green Mario. He got a sub 20. He got like 27:47, I think. Just by so there was a lot of new developments that I just never bothered to learn.
Wow.
Like there's a manipulation in the beginning, it involves an audio cue. Well, I had difficulty with the audio cue because I'm partially tone deaf, so I didn't really hear that tone come up. So
Hmm.
I tried to learn it a different way, and I was like, you know what, that's it. They didn't have it, and I've ran it a little bit over the year. I ran it for my first GDQ in 2020, which 2020 wasn't a good year for anybody. I mean, it was a pretty bad year,
Yeah.
and we ran that relay, the Zell relay, and I did not have a good run. I died in level 9. My B button membrane actually busted all the way through during that run.
Oh.
And yeah, that's if you watch during the run where I'm dying, I'm slamming the controller button trying to get it to work, and we had a mercy kill move on to the Zelda 2 run in that, but I was a little bummed out, and then finally got my revenge on it this year at AGDQ. I did the 100% run, and it went flawless. I mean, nothing. I can't say one bad thing about that run.
Yeah, I watched it from the crowd and it just looked perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't one of my fastest runs, obviously, but it was definitely doable. We just had a Zelda tournament recently. It was four categories. I only competed in two. Four categories were Any No FA, 100%, Swordless, and Second Quest. I used to run Swordless. I've never ran Second Quest, and then with my work schedule, I barely had time for the two. And ended up getting semifinals in the Annie No FA, and I ended up winning the 100%. So, that's with that. And I've also, outside of Zelda 1, I ran Zelda 2 for a while. Um, I've done just about every category in that one, and pretty good times. I've had a couple records with it, but never. I don't really grind Zelda 2 because it's so hard on the thumbs. It will wear your thumbs out.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of crap about that game. I mean, I know it's good as a speed run, but like also brutal in so many
Yeah,
ways.
it is, and once you learn the mechanics of it and actually how your attacks work, it's very intricate, and it's a lot of fun once you get the rhythm down for the attacks, and it flows really nice. But there's just no downtime. It's like your game Mario. Every time you go down a flagpole, you got a few seconds to rest your thumb. And Zelda 1 screen transitions. Castlevania in between levels. No, Zelda 2, you go from one screen to the next to the next. And if you're doing the 100% category, you're pushing buttons for 100 and I mean, let's see here, an hour and on. For me, it's like an hour 16, but the record's like an hour 13 something right now for that category. But I'd mainly do any percent deathless, any percent no scroll lock, which is a minor glitch which involves the wrong warp, and then I've done some on the Famicom Disk System, which that game is a little bit different on that one. There's the elevators are slower. The level up system is completely different. It's a lot friendlier than what ours is in the US version. However, if you game over in Zelda 2, you will go to your lowest level. If your levels are 332, you go down to 222. If you're at 881, you go to 111.
Hmm.
Very punishing in that one. And then in the any percent speed run for that, you finish the game at 555, which is pretty brutal.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the game, so I guess I don't know how what the levels entirely like do.
Well, you have your attack level, your magic level, and your defense, your life level, and it all goes up to 8, being the strongest.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, 8 will deal the most damage. 8 magic will use the less magic to cast spells, and 8 life gives you more defense. More hits kill you.
Hmm.
Well, at level 5, and you only got, I think, 5 hearts. The last Thunderbird can kill you in one hit if you don't cast shield.
Oh,
Hmm.
well, that sounds hard.
Yeah,
But
and
I
there's
mean, that's
even
Zelda 2.
yeah, there's another fun category we do where it's attack 1. You level up everything else, and Thunderbird takes 96 hits.
And can kill you in one.
Oh no, no, you have 8 health in that. You can survive
Oh,
quite a bit.
okay. I misheard.
Yeah,
Okay. But
yeah,
that's a lot of hits.
yeah. You can manipulate him. He does like a little swinging pattern. You can, if you know how to move him, you can guide him the whole way. You just gotta know the fight, and once you do, it's really easy.
Yeah, but that's gonna take a while.
Yeah, it takes a couple minutes. You can get like 3 or 4 hits per dive, unless you want to get really aggressive and try to jump into them. If you cast Reflect, it shrinks your hitbox, so you can get some extra hits in with the down stab as well. So you can the task. There's a Schmitty Games did this awesome one attack one task, and he just it's hilarious how fast he obliterates Thunderbird dive using the hitbox and the down stab technique. I mean, he does some really crazy stuff, left plus right even, which
Hmm.
lets you zip across the screen. It's a good watch. It's not an official task, but because he modifies the game sprite to look like a troll face.
Oh,
That's his
okay.
signature though. That's what he does. So, but no, it's a hell of a task. It's probably one of my favorite Zelda 2 tasks I've ever seen.
Yeah, I gotta love when they use left plus right because apparently no game just ever thought that would happen.
I know, and Zelda 2 shares the engine with Battle of Olympus, so you can do the left plus right in that as well.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
Hmm. Were they made by the like same devs, or is it just
Uh, no, Zelda 2 had a large team. Battle of Olympus had 2 or 3 people,
okay?
but they were able to, I guess, use the same engine as long as they didn't refer to Zelda 2 at all in it,
Hmm.
which they
Interesting.
didn't, and it uses a lot of the same. I mean, it moves just like Z2. It really does, and it's not as good as a game. It's not bad. The story's great if you want to play through it like that, but speed run, you're grinding for money, which are olives, and you gotta hope you get them.
Hmm. That RNG factor.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's interesting. That sounds like a ROM hack almost, but a little more complicated than that, I guess. But still
Yeah, that
interesting.
was almost like a fan made game in a way.
Yeah, almost, but
Yeah,
it's official and hmm, just interesting, I guess. But I don't know
yeah,
how stuff worked back then. The rules were all
yeah.
different.
Yes, they were. Companies could only make certain games. That's why Konami was Ultra as well and released games under that umbrella.
Yep, because you can't release too many games. Nintendo gets mad then for some reason. So
Yes, they do. And Konami got so mad they now make slot machines. So,
unfortunate.
very.
That's how it goes, I guess.
So does Bally's also, who used to make arcade games. They also make slot machines as well now.
Wow.
Hmm.
Why is that market so large? Well, I know why that market's so large, but
Yeah, I could. That's a whole different podcast. I could
that
definitely
that
go into
is.
on that.
Yeah, and I know you work in casinos, so maybe you'd know more than most. You probably see them all the time.
Yeah, I don't even hear in my sleep no more like I used to.
Mm,
But nowadays, like I say, you've been around 20 years, you just get, used to it. And like I was telling you before, looking at money, it's just like, yeah, I was looking at 1.5 million today in cash and organizing it. And it's like, it doesn't look like they do show it in the movies. In the movies, they show these big old stacks. Nah, it's $1 million in hundreds does not look like that.
wow. It's just crazy to
I,
think
I, I'd,
about.
sh- I'd, sh- I'd show you if I had 1 million on me, but no, I don't. So I
Yeah,
can't do
because they
that.
don't give you any of that. You just have to handle
No.
it.
Yeah, I get handle their money and then I get a small portion in the paycheck.
Lovely. Well, so I guess trying to go back in time again.
Hmm.
Uh so started Zelda 1 with Hundo,
Hmm.
and then when did the other categories come into effect?
Okay. Well, after I was running Hundo and Zelda 1, I found out at the time there was no streamlined rules for it because nobody was really running it. So that's
Mm,
why I decided to branch to Any Noah Bay because people were actually running that. And just stuck with that category for way too long. I think the only people who spent more time on a single category, I would probably say Arcus with Ninja Gaiden. I mean, and then he's got like 80,000 attempts in that game.
yeah, it's a lot.
That's a Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you know, yeah, I couldn't imagine 80,000 in a game. And I think who was who was the one that did like Where's Waldo did like 40,000 in that. That was cannot think of his name right now, but he grinded for that sub 2 minute run forever, and then he finally got it.
Hmm.
Then he destroyed the cart. He actually had the cart at GDQ that was all smashed up.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I was like, "You still got the cart?" He showed a little baggie. And
It's in a bag.
if you remember at 20, I think you signed my broken Karnov cart.
It's quite possible.
Yes, I'll touch on Karnov a bit, my little history with that game, but yeah, going back to Zelda, just grinded, no up A for the longest time, and I did get the second sub 30 and second sub 29, but I got in second place for a while, but I just could not get over that hurdle. I went a year and a half without a PB in Zelda 1 once I had a 2851. I just could never touch it, and then I
Hmm.
got hot again, and then the fire just completely went out.
Yeah, I mean, after that much effort put in, it eventually is gonna die down.
Hmm. And then I did a few other categories. One interesting one I will touch on. There was a thing with Twin Galaxies of all things.
Hmm.
This was back when they were disputing some of their speed runs after the whole Dragster stuff that happened, and by people we won't name, I'll just mention the event. If you know, you know. But so there was the runner for the Zelda situation, Rodrigo. I will say his name. He had a Zelda run and posted of a time, and Twin Galaxies, you don't do glitches, you don't do any weird shenanigans, it's straight up playing the game. Well, he had a time posted at 31:37, and the video just had him going into level 9. That's all the video showed.
Hmm.
Well, so when they were disputing some of his scores, a bunch of us from the Zelda 1 community actually went onto the Twin Galaxies forums and got involved in the search to help dispute it. Myself, Fred Coughlin, a few F. Coughlin, who's made the Zelda 1 randomizer, a lot of us got involved, and we were able to deduce the spawns when he entered level 9 were the incorrect spawns. You would have to leave level 9, go right one screen, and go back to go in.
Hmm.
And that was deduced. So they did, and what I did, I routed a category of their rule requirements just in case the run didn't get taken down. His run would not be the top time,
Hmm.
and ended up taking that down. And the verification, how we do things on Speedrun, you put the video up, submit it, boom, we verify it, and then you have a run. You have your record. Once it the case Twin Galaxies, I had to prove that it was on original hardware. I had to give my address. I had to give my phone number, and I had to give my full name.
Yep,
Mhm.
I've been there. If you
Yeah.
want me to explain my story.
Oh, go for it real quick.
So, with the way Mario 1 glitchless works, when I had the record, um, with the way their timing method worked, I could have a perfect run of Mario 1 because they go to the second. They don't have decimals. So
Right.
I thought it'd be funny. So, uh, maybe I was a little under the influence at the time, but I did the whole shebang because I was like, I could get a perfect Mario 1 run under their rule set. That'd be funny. And yeah, they make you do all of that. That's not fun.
No.
And because of that, there was a problem with the setting where it didn't display my username and it split and instead displayed my real name, so I got kind of doxxed that way. Not really, but like, oh, who's this guy with this name? And it's like, oh, that's me. Now people know. Unfortunate. So
Mm.
not never been a fan of them. And then obviously the worst part is you can submit that one thing. You can submit like one thing, and then it's a whole process that fucking blows. And then if you want to submit something else, you can't until you like help out with the site and verification. I don't know. It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
You have to be active in other polls and disputes for videos in order to submit another run.
Really, really stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Thank God for speedrun.com, SDA, and everything that came
Yes.
afterwards.
Yeah, because I ended up beating that time. I think I got like a 31:07. Yunus actually beat me first, but he didn't bother submitting. I don't blame him. And then I had a 31:07, and I got that last year because I was when I submitted my runs for GDQ, I had that submitted with the incentive to go up to 100%. And of course, the incentive got met, thankfully. And we were just going to call it glitchless. We weren't going to call it what we actually call it, which is Twin Galaxies rule set. So we just called it glitchless. And but thankfully, the incentive got met. I did not have to do that. But during that time, that's when I got the 30. I was trying to get a sub 31, and I had a run that was on pace, and it just fell apart in the end. But yeah, it was definitely an ordeal. And most people before then knew my name anyway, so I wasn't too worried about it. And then once that got out, that I was like, it was like, are you Harold from Twin Galaxies? I was like, yeah, that's me. And I've never hid my name since. I'm like, I'm 43 years old. What do you want to do to me?
Yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, so anyway, we have a shared hatred of twin galaxies. Most people do, but like the whole submission process is actually just the worst thing ever. I don't know what they're
but
doing over there.
but the one bit of we'll give them some praise though. They were like the people I interacted with over there, even Jace. I nothing but positive things to say during our interactions. Well, you know, there was no there was no hatred. It was like we were trying to extend an olive branch from speedrunning to Twin Galaxies, and it just seemed like the communication level was really good, and I was really pleased with that. And a few of them still pop in my Twitch chat. From I mean, Jace doesn't, but some of the other ones that were involved in that still pop in. There were a few people that were and the this dispute thing, like, well, he didn't show the console. It's not legit. He did it on emulator. The video quality is too clear. And they're like, yeah, we use capture devices now. We don't film TV. So, and the funny thing is, most people stream with, like Famicoms that have RGB mods, and I
Me.
never. Yeah, same here. I mean, my Famicom, my SNES, and my regular front loader is all RGB modded, and I never mentioned that it was. Which it doesn't do nothing, but it just helps. It just helps for video quality. Man, I still play on a crappy CRT TV, so it's nothing with that, but it just helps the video quality for streaming purposes. And that's how things are done now. We don't just put a camera on the TV.
Yeah. I mean, my CRT is lucky to have a component, so it all works out that way, but yeah, it's mainly for capturing.
Yeah, I wish mine had component. It has S video, which is just as good for NES and SNES. It's not bad for it.
Yeah, it's not bad. Like, component has a little bit better, but the composite to S video is a much, much greater jump than S video to component.
Yes.
Like, oh my God.
And then if I'm doing other systems like TurboGrafx or I have a few speed runs for that as well. Genesis. I have a Mister I use for that, and
Mm.
Mister's great. I love it.
Yeah, I've messed around with one. I mean, it's cool that you can, it's like playing emulator on a television. So
Yeah,
it's just
and
interesting. It works.
yeah, yeah, and there's very little input delay. Like if I'm playing a game I don't speedrun, I notice nothing. But now if I'm playing Zelda or any of the other games I do, yeah, I do notice a little bit of a difference.
And then you can plug in like any controller. I was just at a pace, and a couple people had misters, and one you can plug in a keyboard to it.
Hmm.
That's like
Yep.
all the emulator players, except they're actually playing on a CRT. So it's just weird. And then there was like this really cool, like one of those, I don't know if they call it like hit boxes. They have like the board and just a bunch of buttons, kind
Yeah,
of
the
like for fighting
hitbox.
games. It is a hit. It was one of those, like a little mini one. I mean, it was unique. To I got to test it out. It's not something I would personally use, but I mean, you have many options when it comes to that instead of brick, I guess. So
Yes, brick or dog bone, or my personal favorite alternative, this guy.
I was just about to grab mine. That's the one.
Yeah, yeah. That's actually used as my second controller for Zelda when I do save and quit. I use up and A with my feet.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yep. So it stays down at my feet, and I always play barefoot, so it's real easy to use. So if you ever see my NES Advantage, do not ask to use it.
Hmm. Yep. I need to touch up mine. A friend gifted it to me, but it's not in great condition. But I want to like, I think it'd be fun to use in specific situations
Hmm.
as a meme. So,
Mega Man 3, you could use it on that because if you hold the directional stick on it when you do things, like if you hold right, it'll make you jump really high, and then you can lag the game down. You can do some weird things with it on Mega Man 3.
hmm, like plugged in. No,
Yeah, you plug in second controller port.
yeah. Uh, why does that do weird things?
Um, well, even a second controller will do it. It doesn't matter the controller. It's just
Oh,
like
okay. It's just
it's just like a cheat thing they do. Like a lot of peripherals do weird things. Like one of my favorite ones I found when I was a kid. You remember the Super Scope for the Super Nintendo?
yeah.
Okay. The peripheral for that plugged in the second controller. Well, if you turned on Mortal Kombat 2, you got a completely different intro, which is the same if you hold the L and R buttons on the controller, where Shao Kahn and Kentaro comes out and smash out the acclaim sign.
Okay.
Um, and that would happen if you had the Super Scope peripheral plugged in.
Hmm. So just it does that.
Yeah, it does things. So yeah, I'm sure there's other ones, but I've never really derped around with it.
Yeah, you gotta wonder. I mean, so many people don't even know about the Duck Hunt Like if you have a controller plugged in, you can control the duck while the other person shoots it.
Mm. I did not believe that. I thought it was a meme until I was like, wait a minute, I have Duck Hunt. Why don't I just do that? And I was like, man, it's a lot easier to shoot the birds this way.
Yeah. Yeah, it does really just seem like a meme, but no, it's real. I mean, I think it's in the uh like guide. I don't know what they
I
call
think
it.
I think I think it was a Nintendo Power, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was it? I mean, that's
Yeah,
totally possible too.
yeah, and like their counselor's corner section where they put all the
Hmm.
cool things in there.
Yeah. Kind of wish I had lived in an era where I could have gotten those things. Just seems cool.
Oh, there was nothing like that. You know, the new issue was coming out. You'd wait for it in the mail and get it. Then you'd sit there and just, I mean, that was like the thing I read from front to back. And my brother and I, we got the first 100 issues, except for issue number two. My mom threw away that one because that was the one with Castlevania 2 where he's holding Dracula's head. She was like, no, that's too violent.
Hmm. Unfortunate.
But they let me watch Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th like it was no big deal. So, you know,
Logic.
yes. Parent logic in the South, yes.
But yeah, that's so do you still have like that collection
My video games?
of the Nintendo Power?
Oh, my brother actually has all the issues. If I remember, he has most of them. I kept all the games because
Got
he
it.
really doesn't game that much. But he has all the issues. He keeps asking to borrow some of my systems, but I know I wouldn't get them back. So nah.
Okay.
In fact, I had two Sega Saturns. I let him borrow one of them, and one of them was a rare game I let him borrow, Shining in the Holy Ark. I have not seen it back, so heck no, I'm not letting him borrow any of my other systems.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Just
because he wanted. I have Panzer Dragoon Saga on the Saturn, and he wanted to borrow that. I was like, no,
interesting. Hopefully he's not just asking for stuff and then selling them.
that wouldn't surprise me.
Better
I
get
know
the
he'll.
investigation.
Yeah, he'll never see this, so it's okay.
Oh well. Well, all right, then we can talk shit and it's fine. That's good.
Yes.
All right, so I guess something important to bring up that I didn't was like so Zelda 1 has the interesting thing of having the no up A and then just normal because and no up A has always been more popular, which just means you can't do that death warp using that second player controller,
Hmm.
but
Yep. Yeah,
there's
it has a lot more restrictions than that. You can still do all the glitches, obviously, but yeah, you just can't die on purpose or use the FA.
oh that's right. It also has the you can't because just dying also can skip things.
Hmm.
I'm just it's interesting that that's more popular. I mean, I guess it's all just whatever the runners feel like doing, but you know, any percent kind of sounds easier than in that way.
Um, yes and no. Straight up any percent with FA is there's runs of it,
Hmm.
but level 5 is probably the hardest part of that run because after you get the recorder, you up A. Well, whenever you up A, you only start with 3 hearts,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah.
Didn't think of that.
Yep. And you have to go back through, and then like almost every enemy in level 5 will deal 2 hearts damage. So 2 hits, from the wrong enemies, and yeah, you're toast. And second quest, that's the most popular category for second quest is save and quit.
Hmm.
Well, in level 9, after you get the silvers, you up A to go back to the beginning, and you got 3 hearts.
Okay. That's interesting. I did not think of the heart thing. Wow.
And they also they only get I think it's like 6 or 7 hearts because they don't bother getting the magic sword since it takes too much time to get.
Okay.
It's way out of the way.
So the categories are a lot more different than I thought. Okay.
Hmm. Yeah, but it's a tough one. I mean, I played through Second Quest recently for the first time. I think it was after GDQ, somebody mentioned, "Yeah, you never." I was like, "Well, I'll do it now," and it took me like an hour and 15, but I hadn't played it in like probably like 15 years.
Hmm.
So I was surprised I remembered everything.
So what does Second Quest change over the original?
Okay, second quest changes your dungeon locations for one. Um, Everything the overworld enemies are the same. However, caves will lead to different things. Like, for example, level 1 stays the same. Level 2 is up in where we get the bait in first quest. It's what we call the Death Armo screen, but it's you go one screen to the left of level 4, and then you go up until you can't go up no more and touch the center Armos. That's usually where you buy the blue ring as well. In if you're playing first quest, well, in second quest, that's where level 2 is, and level 2 has advanced enemies. It has like a Gibdos, um, Dark Nuts. It has a Gleeok you have to fight with low health, and that's where you get your recorder. And it also has a second caveat where you have to double dip dungeons in order to beat it.
Double dip. So like
Yes,
going, you have to go twice.
yes, you have to
Interesting.
either go in level 4 twice or level 6 twice, because the ladder's in level 6. You cannot complete level 6 without the bow, which is in level 4.
Hmm.
And level 4 is raft blocked, and you get the raft, I think, in level 5.
Hmm. The
So
more you know.
there's a yeah, and there's also old men in the rooms. We call them muggers because they'll take half your money, or they'll take your money or one of your hearts.
Mm.
And you have to pay to get through, and that's why they only get very few hearts, because they have to give up some of the hearts. It's better than saving 50 extra rupees,
Yeah.
because you have to go through two of them.
And all of the like dungeon layouts are different, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the and the first quest, the dungeons are shaped like animals. You have an eagle. Um, yeah. Well, you have like a kanji symbol for Dungeon 3, even though people say it's something else. No, it's a kanji symbol. Let's see, number 2. Level 2 is like a crescent moon and so on. Well, in second quest, they spell out Zelda, but it doesn't spell it out directly. It's not Z-E-L-D, ZELDA for 1 through 5. It's like level 1 is E, level 2 is the A,
Hmm.
and so on like that. Now, the other interesting thing, all the maps are on one grid itself. Like the overworld's on a grid, then all the labyrinths are on one grid as well. If you were to look on like a map,
Hmm.
um, there's a if we could clip through the walls in dungeons, we could go from level 4 to level 7
Hmm.
in first quest. But if you were able to do that, if you got the Triforce N7 from clipping through 4, it's only going to count the Triforce for level 4, because that's the dungeon you enter.
Okay. So it doesn't actually help anything.
No, no. There was a way to test it, and it just turned out to not be a viable thing if it were to happen. We've tried other ways to screen scroll in dungeons, which would be amazing, but unfortunately, there is no way to do it. Even the task can't do it. The task is interesting. It's 22 minutes and 17 seconds.
Wow.
Well, you take a lot of games. For example, we'll take Mario One. The you know the record run is very close to the task. Was it 15 frames or something?
22,
22. Thank you. Yeah, just a little over a frame roll. Um, so
which is all an 8-4. It ties the task to 8-4.
right, yeah. I mean, Nipsey's run was just that was mind blowing. That guy's a machine. I don't know how anybody's that consistent at any game, but he's a machine. But with Zelda, it's the record. It's around like 27 minutes and change as compared to 22, because we can't manipulate the game like the task does. The task does. If you got 22 minutes, I recommend watching the Zelda One task. It will blow your mind. It's just stuff we can't do.
Yeah, that game is really interesting with how, every its manipulation is, but it can only be like at the start, and then you're up to the luck of the draw for the rest of it, but you can manipulate like your items because of this whole table chart
Hmm.
thing. It's very complicated, but that makes it very interesting.
Yeah, the drop table, I'll touch on briefly. It's everything's based on the value of 10. You have 0 through 9. And certain enemies drop certain items all the time, like the bomb dropping groups. They always drop bombs on the first kill, the sixth kill, and the eighth kill. So if you can keep track of your globals, you can do that. And then if you kill 10 enemies without getting hit, and you drop a bomb and kill an enemy, I was killed 9 enemies without getting hit, and you kill the 10th with a bomb, it will give you a bomb. That's what the old man meant in level 8 when he says the 10th enemy has the bomb. He just doesn't tell you how to do it.
Yep, I've heard that whole thing.
Hmm. Yeah,
Very
it's
cryptic stuff.
very Zelda 2 is a lot more cryptic, but yeah, it's of course the most cryptic game I think I've ever speedran was Castlevania 2. Oh my god.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard from some very angry people
Well,
how
the
cryptic it is.
Japanese version of that on the Famicom Disk System, they actually give you bad hints on purpose.
Oh,
Hmm. Yeah, that's
what?
a thing. Yeah, it's there's certain NPCs that just tell you the wrong thing. So I think that's why a lot of things in the American version are not translated or carried over well.
What a mess.
Mhm.
All right. I'm glad the first and third games are not that way.
No, no, those are solid. I recently learned the Castlevania trilogy run. I did Castlevania 1, 2, and 3 Deathless and Glitchless all in one setting.
Hmm.
And that was a interesting, fun little challenge. I wanted to get sub 90 and was able to do it. The Deathless route I took from Castlevania runner who actually passed away recently, Furious Paul. It was his Deathless route, and that's the route I used in it. And then when I heard of his passing, I was like, well, at least that was a good, I can dedicate that because he helped that run happen.
That's cool. Um, so yeah, you said you started with Castlevania as well, right?
Hmm.
So did was it like a long break and then a return and then also learning the other ones?
I would learn games here and there while I was grinding Zelda. I would take breaks and I learned Castlevania 2. See Karnov, which made me so mad I broke that cart. And the other part about Karnov, where somebody found out I broke that cart, and it was F. Coughlin. He had my address. He got it from my girlfriend at the time, and he mailed me a copy of Karnov to replace that one. And at GDQs for a while, people were giving me Karnov cards. I had like I think 13 at one time.
All right.
And so what I've done, if I went to somebody's house, somebody's speedrun community, I would always take a card and I would hide it in their house, and they would find it like months later.
That's
Yep,
awesome.
yep, Karnov Ferry.
Wow. Well,
And and there's two people out there whose houses I've been to that still have not found their cards.
oh,
Yeah,
that's kind of
hope you all.
scary.
Yeah, I put them in good spots. You gotta go to the bathroom at some point. If you're at somebody's house for a while. So
Hmm. Do these people know?
no, they have no idea. And
Oh.
no, so if they watch this, they're going to be thinking, okay, he was at my house. Did he leave one there? That's going to get them thinking. And then
That,
it'll probably be the wrong one.
mm. So, just everyone's house you visited, there's a Carniv cart, so.
Yes, yeah, one of them found it quite quickly, but I got a text. He's a local one here in Ohio. You must hate me. I just put it in his bed pillow, because we were streaming in his room. He, I think, went to the bathroom app, took it out of the pocket. I was like, okay, here we go.
Fair enough. All right. Well, scavenger hunt engage, I guess.
Yes. I had a plan at AGDQ. I was going to put one in JSR's luggage, but I never got to his luggage to do it, so it did
Hmm.
not work.
Well, there's always this next one.
Yeah, I will not be at SGDQ, unfortunately.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
whatever the
I real
next one is, right?
yeah. AGDQs are a lot easier with my work schedule because after New Year's we just slow down, and summertime we're always hopping, so it's hard to get out during that time.
Yeah. but someday
Yeah,
he'll be
some
surprised with a gift. We'll
yes, I
say.
will get him. I'm sure I'll be out there with him again. I know he's doing his run at GDQ with his dog, and he's actually bringing his dog to GDQ, and they're going to drive from Las Vegas to Minnesota.
Oh, they're driving. All right.
Yeah, yeah, it's too expensive to fly, and that dog's bigger than what it looks. I visited his house, and we did a two-player, one controller run of Zelda,
Ooh.
and beat the record on that. And at the end of the video, the dog just hops up in my lap and is all loving and kissing and all this stuff. And Darius was like, "Oh, he likes you." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kidnap this dog. He's cool."
Oh well.
Not really going kidnapping, just
No,
saying,
I know.
it
But
was, yeah, cool doggy.
yeah, I get to meet him.
Hmm.
Excited.
Yep. Oh, PB is super friendly. You'll love him. He'll want pets, and then he'll go somebody else and want pets. I mean, he's just gonna be a pet slut the whole time, just going around to everybody getting pets.
Yeah, I wonder how that's gonna work out. There's gonna be so many people there that want to meet the legend. So.
Yeah, yeah, that gyromite run was definitely an interesting thing. We talked on the phone about it, and I was like, man, I think this could work. And got the remote run in, and it just was perfect. And then
Hmm.
now he built this whole controller, and I'm like, okay, let's see how he does swinging a baseball bat.
Yeah. I remember when I had JSR on like a year ago, he was talking about the idea. So it was funny to, or it was cool to watch it all like actually exist
Mhm.
after hearing about it. So, and now, yeah, it's just getting even crazier.
Yeah, I mean
That,
it.
I can't
We
believe that.
talked about another idea, but I'm not going to reveal that one. But I
Mm,
think this idea right now is the better one than the idea that we thought of.
fair enough. I still can't believe that in that Gyromite run, it like lost to a glitch. That was
Oh
the
yeah, yeah, the
craziest
enemy
thing.
screen wrapped,
That that's just crazy. That run
and
was something.
that was like the most hype that room was up to that point in the week. And they didn't even get to hear the audience on the restream. That was like my only thing. I was like, man, we were going crazy in that room for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I wish you could kind of hear it, but well, I guess they had like an in-person commentator, maybe, or at least the
Uh,
host.
yeah, well, the Breach who did the commentary was off in a side room.
Yeah, okay.
That's
That's
how they
right.
did that one.
Yeah, I guess I was curious. I remember SGK 2022. Yeah, they made like a little makeshift thing for some of the remote runs, but yeah, interesting, I guess.
And
Yeah.
I really hope they do that dual stage setup like they did at this
Oh, they will.
AGDQ.
Yeah.
Okay, good, because
No.
that was phenomenal.
That
That
is
just
that is a permanent thing, I think, from what I've heard.
mm,
So, because oh
yeah.
my God, that is completely game changing.
Yeah, the run gets you set up your run while they finish, and it's like I mean, you get time to practice on that monitor because
Hmm. It's gonna be
d
different, yeah.
yeah. Did you know you could have requested a CRT if you wanted one?
Yes, I did know that.
Okay, I did not know that.
Okay, well, yeah. I chose not to, because I did my practice on the monitors in their practice room because I
Hmm.
don't think they have CRTs in that area.
Yeah, they
So
had a couple, but they were hard to get to.
yeah, so I got used to it, and I mean it worked out. I can't complain about my GDQ runs the past couple events. So
No, and you get used to those low latency monitors. You can adjust to it over time. So I mean,
yeah,
if
it's at
like I'm sure,
most 1 frame, which is not bad. You can
no,
adjust to
it's
1 frame.
hmm
So
and doing Mario, you need those frames. So yeah, like I said, you all adjusted pretty well.
yeah, no, it does the job. I mean, yeah, as long as the monitor has low latency and you have that retro tank, I mean, it is a very good option. So I've considered it for my setup because I'd like a retro tank just for the upscale because I don't have an upscaler right now, so I do it in OBS and that makes it not look as good as it could be, even though I'm just a like quality nut. That's just me, but
Yeah.
I've thought of it because I mean, the CRT I play on is 27 inches, so
Hmm.
it's like 200 pounds on my desk. So,
Yep.
you know, it'd be nice to lower it, and then I could also use that same monitor for, more modern stuff. It could be an all-in-one kind of deal, but I guess we'll cross that bridge when it matters and I have money, so.
Yeah, I had three CRTs at one point, and one of them was a mammoth Trentron, and in fact, I never did any runs on that, but Justin Credible was actually over at my house, and he was teaching me Mega Man X2, and he played on that one while I was playing on mine. And that's the first time I ever got to see that one in speedrun mode. And he played on quite well. But when I moved up here from West Virginia to Ohio, I didn't have enough room in the U-Haul to bring that TV, so I just left it in the apartment. Told the landlord to give it to the next tenant.
Fair enough.
I just It was too heavy, and I'm a tall guy. I'm not a big guy, so there was no lifting that and moving it by myself.
Yeah, this thing is just permanently on my desk. I'm not gonna try to mess with it. It would need like a team of three.
Shoot. Yeah, mine's I think it's 21 inches my CRT that I use, and I could pick it up by myself. It's weight wise isn't the problem. It's getting your arms around it.
Oh
That's the
yeah.
problem.
Yeah, usually they don't have like good handle areas, so it's just
And,
unfortunate. What is
and
nice
now
about my
you,
TV is I've been able to just put a bunch of stickers on it that I've gotten at speedrun events, so at least I've got that going for it.
yeah, I think I got one of JSR stickers on this TV. No, wait, I think it's on the other TV that my roommate, Dragon Dark's actually my roommate, and I think they use that one right now.
Yeah, I've got like 15 stickers on my TV. I'm still collecting more, so you see me at a
Hey,
speedrunning event and have stickers, I'll put them on my TV.
I have to remember that because I think I had some stickers of this GameCube. I think I only saw you that one day when you and Cosmic walked up behind me while we were doing the nest block thing.
Yeah, oh, I love Nest Block. I got a
Yeah,
sub 5 for Nest Block. That was pretty fun.
nice. Yeah, I can't remember if I was doing Mega Man 2 or Castlevania, but for that, but it was all like spur of the moment. I was just walking like, hey, can you do a game? I'm like, okay, I got time. The Castlevania run, we just got back from Texas Day, Brazil, and I had a whole bottle of wine.
Oh. So you
Yeah,
were in prime condition, is what that
yes,
means. Yes.
yeah, and it worked. And then the Mega Man 2 run, we were just getting ready to go out to dinner to an Italian restaurant. It was a big old group, and I had my suit on and everything, trying to look all mob boss like since I do the casino thing. And it's like an Italian restaurant, I'm gonna dress up like a mob boss. And I'm not Italian at all. I'm German, so it doesn't really work well. But the dark hair, I guess, it worked a little bit. So
Yeah. Well, that's wait. So did you do that run all dressed up then?
the Mega Man 2 run, yeah,
Awesome. I'll
yeah,
have
I
to
didn't have it.
I'll
Yeah,
have to
I didn't
search
have a
for it.
tie on. I don't wear ties because I don't. Uh, but I'll give one personal tidbit. When I was younger, a kid on the bus decided to prank me and he karate chopped me in my Adam's apple.
Oh.
And ever since then, I don't like anything around my neck. So
Mm.
I don't do ties at all.
I love childhood trauma. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, good old bullies. And he did apologize many years later. And then and I was like, it's fine. I was like, dude, we were kids. Kids do stupid things. So but yeah, it's just one of those silly things. And I don't know what he's doing nowadays. I heard his he made some other bad choices and ended up in jail a couple times. So
Well, yeah, that's usually what I hear when it comes to bullies. So anyway,
mm,
so yeah, I'll have to look up that run to see the drip, as they
uh,
say nowadays. So.
yeah, yeah. What all the young kids say. Yeah, we
But
called it swag, but now
mm-hmm.
it's all called drip or I don't know the other. There's so many new terms coming up for things. I don't know what they're. It's like some of the employees at work will say things. I'm like, what? Oh yeah, I'm double your age. I'm not supposed to know that.
Wow, all those
That's
damn
also
kids. No.
that's also a mind screw. Working with people who's half your age, that's a really big mind screw.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess I don't know who visits casinos because, I think it's older folk who have money to burn. But
Well, there's it is mostly older folk that do play the heavy money, but younger people do come in and try it out, and you
yeah,
know
I guess
it's
that's fair.
It's good entertainment if you want to try it once. Don't get hooked on it. It ain't worth it. It's like a drug. It's
Yeah, I'll stick to the
but
video game equivalents where it means
yes,
nothing.
yeah. And speaking of that, there's actually a couple casino games I do run. Ironically, I run. I rerouted and took the record in Casino World, Casino Kid 2, and I've just started Casino Kid 1, which is a bigger RNG nightmare. But
Mhm.
those have been interesting routing experiences, bringing my gambling expertise into it. You can use card counting in the game, which I do know how to count cards, and it only uses single deck blackjack, so it's a little
Hmm.
easier to track, but the game will still screw you.
Yeah, you're telling me a casino game has RNG? No way. That's crazy. No, that's funny to like take your knowledge of work and put it into a speed game.
Yeah, I get a little hell from it from the other bankers at work. They're like, yeah, because some people at work know I do the speed running thing. In fact, the surveillance team at the casino I work at are very familiar with AGDQ.
Oh,
And
cool.
I was talking to one of them on the phone. Uh, he was like, "Wait a minute, I know you." I was like, "No, you don't." And he goes, "Yeah," and he said my screen name.
Hmm.
And
It's like, well,
he,
yep.
I was like, "You got me." And he actually knew my screen name before it was Cantaloupe Me. I'll tell that quick
Ah,
story. Yeah, I
I
think
guess
you've
we
heard.
were gonna get here eventually, so might as well.
Yeah. When I first got on Twitch, I never thought anybody would ever watch me or take me seriously. So I just came up with a name. Well, the name I wanted was taken. I was like, well, shoot, I can't use that name. I was like, well, I'll just use a name nobody would ever know. So I did Can Out Fap Me. And, I kept it for a while, no big deal. And in fact, my first two GDQ badges actually have that name on it.
Really?
Yeah.
That would not fly now.
No, my name change was part of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, because of my badge for 15 and 16 AGDQs. In fact, AGDQ 16 I actually got in as a backup for Castlevania, and that was on my badge. And but they weren't going to put that name on screen. They were going to do the same thing they did with Tomato Angus, how they did. I
Yeah.
mean, Tomato Anus, how they
I
did his
I
name.
still call him Silent G. I
I
love
know
that.
that was brilliant how they did that.
The G is
But they were
silent.
going to do a modification of the name like that, or I was like, just hey, I'll just put my first name up there. I don't care.
Yeah.
Um, So, but I ended up not getting in as the backup because everything went okay with, nothing changed. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I started gaining some traction on Twitch, and all of a sudden I was streaming one day, and then my stream went offline.
Mm.
I was like, "Oh shit, what happened?" And I got an email from somebody at Twitch. It said, "Hey, if you notice your stream went down during broadcast, I apologize for this, but yada yada yada. What would you like your name changed to be?"
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I chose Cantaloupe Me was because a lot of the streamers whose chats I went in that were more PG based and didn't want to say can out fap me, they would just call me Cantaloupe Me. I was like, okay, I'll go from that to becoming a piece of fruit.
Hey, it all works out, right?
Yep.
Because
And
the meme lived on. I remember some GDQ run where they like referenced you by bringing an actual cantaloupe onto the stage.
yes, that was I think that was 15 GDQ. I asked them to do it as a joke. I didn't think they were going to bloody do it. And
You
so they
gotta
did it
expect
then.
they would, though. Come on.
No, actually, I didn't at the time. And then they did another one too, and the second one I knew they were going to do, but the first one when Darkwing sat down on that couch, it was during Jay Cooper's Swordless run, and he has a cantaloupe in his lap. I'm like, I am sitting on Darkling's lap. I'm
Don't
not
think
sure how
about
I
it.
feel. Yeah, and I got passed back and forth. If you saw that in the video too, they were passing me back and forth.
Oh, I love
But
GDQ memes.
oh, GDQ's a blast, man. I think I've been to like 9 of them, and I can't say a bad thing about it. Made some good friendships over the years. In fact, in 2016, myself, Lack Attack, Darkwing, and K Mac, we all brought our golf clubs up and went and played golf in Minnesota. And there's video of it on Lack Attack's YouTube if somebody wants to go find it. But it was one like we had so much fun, but the course rangers, if you know anything about golf, they were very onto us about pace of play. They were like, "You're 4 minutes behind," and we're looking at each other like, "We're all speedrunners. We're not too slow, thank you." And but they were just hounding us, and we were not going slow. There was nobody in front of us, nobody behind us, but they were just sticklers about it, and that we almost left immediately, but then it started to rain just as we finished up all 18 holes, and we just got the hell out of there. And I said my piece in the clubhouse, and they said, "Yeah, we're pretty strict on that. Sorry if you don't like it. Bye."
Well, there you go, I guess.
Yeah, I had many more words for him, but there's no reason for me to say those here. And I was professional. I mean, I know how to cuss somebody out without saying a cuss word. There's a way to do it.
Yeah, maybe you learn a thing or two when you work at a casino. So,
Yep, yep. Definitely. But yeah, overall, like I said, just the speedrunning thing in general, there's been people that said, there's cringe moments here, there's bad moments here, but overall, I can say my experience has been 100% amazing. And I think you could say the same
oh
too.
God, yeah, easily.
Yeah, I mean, shit, we made we made friends all over the world doing this. A lot of people have traveled to other countries to speedrun. And that was another thing with Rock Band. I actually went to France to meet one of my team members over there,
Hmm.
and hung out with them for 2 weeks. That was part of my post-divorce celebration. I decided to take off to Europe and go do it, and it was a blast. So still even through gaming in general, I've met some of my closest friends. My roommate I met through gaming. It's just like some of my closest friends are involved through video games.
Yeah, it really is life changing when you get like really into it. So
Mhm.
it's really cool stuff. And then of course, like all of these events that we go for sometimes selfish reasons, being like friends, but at the end of the day, it raises millions of dollars for charity too. It's just a win-win situation.
Yeah, I mean, who else could say, in the outside world, it's like, hey, I get to play video games while helping charity raise several million dollars. I mean,
W's all around is all I'm hearing here.
hmm
So yeah.
yeah. And then I remember somebody telling me one day, they're like, oh, you'll never get a girlfriend playing video games. You'll never get anything. And I'm like, want to bet?
None of that matters for me, so that's good.
Yeah, it's whatever, whatever, But yeah, you can meet people of all sorts of different life and breeds being right. It's a very inclusive community, and like I said, like 99.9% of the people I've met have been amazing. I can maybe count on 3 or 4 fingers people I just not associate with, and they're no longer involved in the community. So they've
Hmm.
at least disassociated themselves. I, wa-
Yeah,
I, wa-
most
I
bad apples
was
are good at either leaving or the trash gets taken out at some point.
yes.
So,
Yeah, I was involved taking one of them down. I will drop his name because he was. I'm pretty sure you'll know this douchebag when I say their name. But good old Chambers. I was,
oh,
yeah, I was involved in getting rid of him. So yes,
man, that was a long time ago.
yes, I was definitely a catalyst involved in some of that, and I was proud to say that because of what he did. Nah, you don't mess with my friends in the LGBT community. You do not mess with them. You get my wrath.
Pride Month represent.
Mhm. Yeah,
Shout out.
I always tell people I'm an ally straight and through. I might be straight as an arrow, but I am an ally, and anybody can ever come to me for anything, and I got your back.
Well, the W's just keep coming today. That's what I'm hearing. But yeah, I remember getting the badge of honor, which was getting making a meme and then getting blocked by like the org that he had.
Hmm.
So I remember
Yes.
that was one of my first Twitter moments was getting the badge of honor. So
Oh, I think we were all going for that, man. I mean, so many of us.
oh man, I
Yeah.
completely forgot about all that.
No, and then there's one of my Nightmare on Elm Street runs where I bopped his time. I stood up on camera and did the DX crotch thing and said "suck it, Chambers,"
All right.
and then he tweeted out, he goes, "Oh, Cantaloupe maybe must have some homophobic feelings for me and wanting to perform fellatio on me." I was like, "No, that's not what I'm implying. No, no, that's not what I meant. There's a difference." Yeah,
Crazy.
he tried to fight back, but he lost that battle. So yes, You know, I only talk bad about bad people. I don't talk bad about good people.
And luckily, uh, there's a lot of good people, so you don't get that.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about that too frequently.
No, no,
Not here. Not here.
no, no. I mean, like Cosmic, I had an interaction through him that was amazing. He had a Twitter post where he was selling a Model One Famicom, and I ended up buying that off of him, and that's how I got to interact with Cosmic and stuff, and got to know him. And one of my coworkers at work is like, he loves the Twitch stuff, and he found out my speedrunning. He goes, do you know Cosmic? I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you know Summoning Salt? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh my god, you're famous. I was like, no, I'm not. I just know people. There's a difference.
Yeah, I mean, people love to tell me how famous I am because I know almost everyone. Because that's what I love about the community. You can talk to people, so I talk to people. But it's like, eh, am I famous though? No, that's just not. That's not the same thing.
No, it definitely isn't, man. It's
And we're
you
not here
know,
for fame anyway, so it's like it doesn't even matter, right?
Oh no, if we were on Twitch for fame, we would be playing Fortnite
We, yeah.
or Minecraft.
I always say if I did speedrunning for clout, I would have stopped a long time ago.
Yeah. In fact, if I ever got dropped off Twitch like for something, my meme I was going to do was I was going to stream speed runs on the hub, if you get my drift. And
Oh.
yeah, because you know how people have streamed like nudity on Twitch. I was like, well, I'm just going to go through a reversal. I'm going to do just regular speed runs on the hub and see what they say.
That, that's a way to go about it,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yep, I was like, if something ever happened, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to get banned on Twitch
I
because I
I
don't.
wonder if speedrun.com would allow a VOD of a speedrun from that.
Um,
I can't say they would.
yeah, no. Well,
This is
there's
uncharted territory.
there's no rule against it. It just says you have to put a VOD up. It doesn't say where the VOD can be. I mean, there's people that have VODs on there from YouTube, Twitch. What's that one Japanese
Nico
videos?
Nico.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
And I think I saw one or two others. So yeah, there's nothing against saying that we can't. I mean, like in Zelda 1, there's nothing saying that you can't do that.
Well, let's not give anyone any ideas. Let's just
No, don't
have
do it.
this. Okay. Let's just have this funny hypothetical and move on.
Exactly.
But yeah. Now a lot of talk has been had about Karnov. I got to
Mhm.
get the full story here. And I'm not too familiar with the whole meme, but I know it's a meme. So
Yes.
educate me, please.
Oh, no problem, GT. So the Big 20 event, are you familiar with
Of
that? Where
course,
they
yeah.
Okay. Well, the Big 20 number two, it was the first one I got involved with, and there was several games on that list that aggravated me. Joe and Mac, Karnov, I think there was a couple others. I'd have to look at the list. I don't remember all the games from that list since it was many, many years ago. Well, I kept getting mad at Karnov. I mean, and so mad, I decided to take out my anger on Karnov. So what I did, I took the card out of my NES, and at the time, I was taking a break from casino work, and I did pest control. I had one of these big industrial strength rat traps. Um,
Okay.
now, now you've seen snap traps that catch mice. Now a rat trap is way bigger, and the metal has a lot more pounds per force. You stick your fingers in a mouse trap, it's going to sting. You stick your fingers in a rat trap, it's going to break your bone. That's
Oh.
the difference. Yeah. Um, so I put Karnov in it on stream, and it did not break the cart. I
Hmm.
because Nintendo games are made out of Nintendium, as we all know, which is the second most hardest surface next to a Nokia telephone.
Mm-hmm.
So it would not break. I tried several times, and the rat trap just stopped working. The spring busted in it, so it wasn't
Oh
working
my
no
god.
more. And so got a hammer and beat the hell out of it. And that's the same cart that you saw. And and then what was funny on stream, I think it was Dragon Dark actually, it said, "I bet you that will still work." And I was like, okay. So I put in my front loader. It worked, but it got stuck, so I had to take apart my front loader to get it out. But in my top loader, it works just fine. It busted off part of the chip, but it's not part of the chip that the game uses because it doesn't use that much.
Mm,
So, but yeah, that's where the Karnov story started, where I took a hammer and just beat the living hell out of it. Then I actually got decent at Karnov. I can beat it pretty much anytime I play it now, except for the. I even did the arcade Karnov once. I do not recommend. It's even worse.
hmm.
But
S- But yeah,
it,
I guess it's easy because it's interesting with the American NES cartridges, like most of it is empty space.
mhm.
Like the actual board is the tiny part towards where you actually put the cartridge in. So you can beat something to hell and maybe not even touch the actual board.
Yeah, it was just amazing at how well that held up. And see, Karnov is on the Famicom as well, but it's actually a longer game because there's cutscenes in it.
Hmm,
And the cutscenes don't really tell any story. You just get a fancy hat at the end.
okay.
Yeah,
Sounds like a
yeah,
great
pretty.
game.
Yeah, it's not the worst game. I mean, that Data East made. In fact, Karnov makes several appearances in other video games. He's like the first boss you face in Bad Dudes.
Hmm,
There's actually a fighting game of, I believe it was on the Neo Geo. No, was there arcade? I can't remember if it's arcade or Neo Geo, but it was called Karnov's Revenge, and you could play as Karnov and beat people up.
sounds fun.
And it's not bad. I mean, I played through it once. And I was like, yeah, it's no Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct, but it's better than some fighting games I've played over the years.
Well, I didn't realize it was such a successful franchise.
Yeah, I mean, Data East did a lot of weird things with games. But yeah, they overused Karnov way too much.
Wow. Is so what makes that game like difficult? I haven't seen
Uh,
much of it.
okay. Best example I can give is your jump is super floaty. Um, the screen can only scroll one direction at a time. So at times you need to go up and over. Well, it will only go up and then it'll stop, then it'll start going over, then it'll go up, then it goes over.
Hmm,
It doesn't know how to scroll in more than one direction at once. Well, a lot of enemies will just spawn out thin air if you don't know that they're there, and they'll just kill you. If you touch the ground in a different spot, a different enemy will spawn. If you die, a whole different set of enemies can spawn. Um, and some of the bosses are really tricky unless you know if you can keep the boomerang to them, you can one hit a lot of the later bosses.
got it.
And the final boss, it takes away all your special weapons, and your triple fireball gives you a single fireball or to fireball to kill a three-headed dragon. And it's different than the arcade. Arcade, you fight a wizard, but in this one, you fight a three-headed dragon, which has the same pattern. It's an easy fight.
Hmm. So that's the meme. It all
Yep.
stemmed from a best of NES. That's
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Yeah, I've only done like I think three best in S's races, maybe four, and but that was definitely my first and most memorable. Um, actually, I may have the. Hold on. Wonder if I still have that split set in here. Uh, take one more peek under the other one. Then I just won't worry about it. But I'm just curious. Gunsmoke was in it. That was an interesting game. No, that was that one. Okay, no, I don't see it on here, but yeah, it had I think I deleted the splits actually afterwards.
Fair.
The the only reason I got involved with it because Bad Breaks was running at the time, and he was trying to get me into one. I was like, I don't know, man. The last two games was Castlevania and Zelda 1.
Hmm. I guess that helps.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you got me, BB. I'll do it.
Yeah, they've had a ton of those now, haven't they?
Yeah, it's I don't even know what number they're on, but they do like two a year. So and now speaking of Best in S, there's another event going on with them right now that I'm participating in, which I hope to get started on it sometime tonight. But it's called the NES Odyssey.
Okay.
Um, have you heard of this one yet?
May I'm gonna say no to get the
Okay.
info.
Okay, no problem. But what the Best in S Odyssey is, all the people who run NES games, we are trying to beat every NES game in 1 week between
Oh,
everybody.
okay.
Mhm. And I think so far about half the games have been done, but those have been, like all your Mega Mans, all your DuckTales, your Castlevanias, your Zeldas, all the real popular games are being hit right now. Well, I decided to pick a bunch of unpopular games to do. Like I'm doing Nightmare on Elm Street. I also run Predator, which is a game itself, but I'm doing that one. I'm doing the Jeopardy games. I'm somewhat decent at those. The Capcom Gold Medal Challenge, Paperboy, Abadox, Abadox, and I'd have to look at the list, but I think I picked one or two others I need to go through. Casino Kid 1 and 2. But I decided to pick games that nobody else would do because nobody else would do those. I think the one they're having the hardest time getting somebody to do is the Miracle Piano.
Oh,
First, you have to find somebody who has one. Then
yeah.
B, you have to hope that person knows how to read and play music.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Isn't that game like really long to beat? Or I
Well,
guess I don't know how it works.
when TMR did it for NES Mania, I think it was his. It's either his longest or second longest. It was around 80 hours.
Hmm.
But he's struggled a bit. I mean, he's very musically inclined. He plays the flute, guitar, but I think he learned piano from his mom, but he never really got invested into it.
Yeah, I know he like genuinely learned piano through that. Like he that or at least that was like kind of the goal.
Mm. And yeah, it seemed very accurate. I mean, I can play piano, but I can't really read music that well. I can read guitar tablature, and that's about it.
Hmm.
But I can play a piano if I know what keys to hit. Like if you put tabs up for a keyboard, yeah, I can play that. But as I'm reading the notes and telling you what they are, no, I can't do that.
Hmm.
Then you get people out there like Panga, you play a note and he's like, oh, that's C sharp. He just knows it right off the top of his head.
Yeah, I'm not pitch perfect. Can't do that.
Nah, because I'll watch his. That's one of my wake up things when I get up in the morning or get home from work. I'll cook something to eat, and I'll just flip up his YouTube and catch his Super Mario Maker VOD, and that's usually my wind down tradition when I get home from work.
Hmm. You know, I can read piano and know someone with a miracle piano, but
Mm,
I don't think I'm gonna be much help there. I would not if I asked for it. First of all, he would not give it to me, and it would not arrive in time.
right?
But
Yeah, because
in
I know,
theory,
yeah, because I know Lack has one, and I was trying to think who else. I think one or two other people in the community have one, but I think they got somebody going to dip into it. So that one, and of course Might and Magic. That's like another 80-hour plus game blind. So,
mm,
hmm. But I think some of the trouble games that they said. Hold on, let me see. I can pull that up real quick. Trouble games. Yeah, somebody's having trouble with Vegas Dreams. I'm not doing that one. Somebody else can do that. Uh, let's see. Red October is another one that's going to give people trouble. Uh, Ness Cardinality is going to be involved. He knows like over 100 games, so he's like Lack. They're both very versed in the amount of games they know.
mm-hmm.
But That's the thing I'm working on now. So I will be doing some. I probably won't go live until like I'm supposed to. I've been up all night. I've been up all day from work. I'm supposed to go out with somebody at like 8:30, and go out and have some drinks, go to a barcade. And so I probably won't be streaming after that tonight, but maybe next coming day, maybe tomorrow I'll get involved in it.
So, how many people are involved in this project?
Probably a good 50 to 60.
All right, that helps because that
Yeah,
that seems like a really hard task to do.
yeah. I think with all the dedicated NES runners, because there's a lot of them, it it'll be damn close if we get them all in a week. I mean, I know we could do it in a month. That's easy, but in a
Mhm.
week, um, I think it can be done. I mean, hell, I'm not sure if Whitehead gets involved, but Whitehead did a stream where he beat 100 NES games in 24 hours.
Holy shit.
Yeah, yeah, very underrated speedrunner. He's done several GDQ runs as well, but yeah, he's mostly known from running Thrill of the Gorilla, Wayne's World. I think he's done some other ones, but no, White Hat. He held the record in Will Sampson for a while as well.
Yeah, that's a mildly popular one.
Mhm. And expensive ones.
Yeah, thank you EverDrives for existing.
Yes. I tell everybody at work about EverDrives. And like, well, where can I get them? I was like, Stone Age Gamer. That's the way to go.
You get it. Yep, that's the place. They have
Hmm.
gotten lots of money from me.
Yeah, same here. I think I have EverDrives from, see here, I own 19 consoles.
Oh.
And yeah, I don't have my collection out this apartment because it's a little smaller than I'd like it to be, but it's home for right now. But yeah, I do have everything from I don't have an AirDrive for an Atari, obviously, but I do have an Atari. I think my most recent system would, if you want to either say Xbox One or Switch, whichever one of those, if you will. I never got PS4 or PS5 or anything other than that.
Hmm.
But I have EverDrives for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, TurboGrafx, Game Boy, Genesis, Game Boy Advance. There's one or two others I can't remember, but I
Okay.
have them all except for Nintendo 64.
I was gonna say I just have NES, SNES, and Nintendo 64, and I thought that was a lot.
Yeah, I went a little ham during the during the pandemic, especially. It was sort of hilarious because I was making more by not working than I was working. So I bought bunch of stuff through Stone Age, and they were like, "Wow, thank you so much." I was like, "You're welcome."
Gotta support the businesses during the pandemic.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they were their place is in Salem, Ohio. It was only like an hour from Pittsburgh at GDQ.
Oh, huh. Hmm.
Yeah, but the weather was so bad. Who was wanting to drive there? You know?
Oh God. Yeah. I don't think there was a single second it was above freezing. I think it was constantly just below it.
No, there was the night we went out to dinner up there. Both nights, yeah, it was cold because we took the train and walked, and we actually drove to the Italian restaurant. That wasn't too bad, but there was one night that myself and a few others we actually went to the Rivers Casino to do some things, and that we took the train there, and that was a cold walk from the getting off the tram to go there. And we had a good old time. I mean, hell, I think Apollo was the big winner. He left like $100 and some ahead, and a bunch of we set a time limit and we stuck to it. And the guy dealing at the table game I was playing, he asked what we were all in town for, and I showed my badge at AGDQ. He goes, "Oh, I heard that was in town. I watched that today." I was like, "Oh, you did? It was the same day as my Zelda run." I was like, "So what runs did you watch?" He goes, "Well, I watched a lot of the earlier runs. I saw, he ended up saying he saw the Zelda run. I was like, "Oh, you did now?" He goes, "Yeah, what do you run?" I'm like, "Zelda." He's like, "Oh, no way."
Did he put it together at that
Yeah,
moment? Okay.
yeah, he did, and he was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." And then he actually dealt me a good hand, Mississippi Stud. It was three of a kind, which and I think I paid like 360. So I was like, "Yes."
Well, there you go. It all works
Mhm.
out.
It does. I mean, like I said, GDQs. If anybody's ever been on the fence about attending one, just go.
Just go to one,
It,
at least.
yeah,
You have
go
to.
to one. And and I get this a lot too. People will say, well, I'm a little introvert, I'm a little,
Aren't
shy.
we all?
I was like, dude, this is a popular place for introverts. I mean, there's a lot of introverts at GDQ. You will get along just fine. Trust me.
Everyone there is that way pretty much.
Hmm.
It's our
Yeah,
chance to like be that way together, which makes it not that,
right.
weird way.
And
I don't know.
and it makes you a lot more outgoing. I mean, I'm more outgoing since I joined GDQ stuff than before. Before I used to be a little shy, but since I got into all this, and now also I attuned to getting, being in my 40s and just not giving a damn like I used to. So it's like I'm not shy about anything. It's like even asking somebody out on a date, I'll do that, and they're like, "Well, if they say no," I was like, "They say no. It's not the end of the world. Move on."
Yeah. Yeah, thinking about it, yeah, GDQ, or at least like knowing how I acted my first GDQ to now is like, whoa.
Hmm.
You can really tell it changes how outgoing you are.
Yeah, it helps a lot of people out, and and I've heard of you know one person I was talking to. He's like, well, I have autism. I don't know if I could do that. I was like, you wouldn't be the only one there. You'd be surrounded by friends. Trust me. No matter where you go, we got your back.
Hmm.
And he said, well, I might do it then. I'm like, we got you. Don't worry. You go. You you'll be fine.
Yeah, most speedrunning events are that way, which is great.
Hmm.
Really
Yeah.
makes it easy for everyone involved, usually.
Yeah.
So,
Like I said, it's a blast. It's been one of the best decisions of my life to be involved in speedrunning, and I've been over 10 years, and there isn't a lot of people that could say they've been doing it 10 years. And I'm very thankful to still have the hand strength to hold a controller, so I will keep it up as long as I can.
yeah, here's to 10 more, right?
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen by the time I'm in my 50s. So, but one thing I plan to do is like when I do turn 50, I will submit another run to GDQ just to see if I can get a run in it being 50 years old.
Are you
Then,
planning on not submitting any
I don't
more
know.
until then?
If I do, it's just going to be sparingly.
Hmm.
Because as well as I do, GDQs can be an expensive
Oh,
trip.
yes. Yeah.
Mhm. And I'm trying to do some other things. Like I just got my passport again, so I'm planning to maybe do some more traveling. I definitely want to go to Scotland at one time in my life. So while the money's decent, I figured I might do that next year. I don't know yet. So I might be putting money towards other goals at the moment. So that's why I may not be attending any events for a bit.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
Yeah, life can definitely get in the way, for better or for worse, depending on the situation. So,
Yeah. Yeah, because my goal is to visit every continent, and I've
ooh,
got three of them down. I've got Australia, I've got Europe, and then I've got obviously America down. So I would be totally down. Antarctica would be the hardest one to get to.
can
I
you
want to go
even
give
get
it.
to that?
Yes, you can take a cruise.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, and I want to go give a penguin a high five.
Well, good luck with that.
Well, I saw a penguin at the zoo here in Columbus. Oh no, I just doxed myself. Oh no. But anyway, I went to the zoo in Columbus here, and there was a penguin, and I was with one of my friends. I was like, "Can I kidnap him and put him in my bathtub and just keep him?" And they were like, "No, you can't do that. They frown on that." I was like, "Well, darn."
Aw, it's a shame they frown on that. Otherwise, it'd be
Yeah,
fun.
I mean, everybody should have a pet penguin. I mean, they're cute as hell. They really are.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Yeah, just don't look down their mouths. Other than that, they're cute as heck.
All right.
They have a lot of teeth. They use it to skin the fish as they eat them. So yeah, they have a lot of teeth.
Got a penguin expert here.
Hey, I'm full of useless knowledge. I studied to try to get on Jeopardy many years ago, and of course I
Oh.
never got there. But I do study random trivia. So
Well, at least
yeah,
there's NES Jeopardy.
yep. And those are the ones I'm doing for the Odyssey. So in fact, Super Jeopardy I played a lot as a kid with my dad, and I still remember a lot of the answers.
Well, That should make it nice and easy then. I actually had NES Jeopardy, the original, so
Hmm.
definitely don't know any of the stuff there because I'm not from the time, but I remember it.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Playing quiz games from back in the '80s, like Remote Control. You probably don't remember that game show, do you?
I probably heard of it, but yeah.
Yeah, it was on MTV, and that's
Uh,
at where Adam Sandler actually started his career.
mm,
Was on Remote Control. He was one of the characters on it, and just little pop quiz questions, and you'd have to answer so many and go on to the next round stuff. It was like a teenager to adult version of Double Dare without the stunts.
okay.
Yeah, it was something like that. It had some perverted humor, and it's like they had a category that was called well, before I tell you the name of the category, I tell you what it revolved around, real quick. So it was a math thing. You had to beat a character at math. Well, the character's name was he was a bishop, and he would run around the stage. So they called it you had to bop the bishop, and that's a euphemism
Got
for
it.
something.
Sure.
Yep.
I'm
So
gonna act innocent and be like, yeah, all right.
yeah, you would know the euphemism if you were my age. You would know, but if you think of my old name, you could put it together.
I got it.
But yeah, so it had little cheeky moments like that. That's back when MTV actually showed music related things too. So now they don't.
Oh, when
But
they were actually like music television.
hmm
I wouldn't
yep,
know.
oh yeah, that was an amazing time. Yeah, like when tapes went to CDs, that was an amazing time. And now nobody uses CDs anymore. Everything's all digital.
Yeah, well, I guess ease of access is always nice, but you do
I,
lose a
I
little bit of the charm, I guess.
I was sad when I bought my new car and it did not have a CD player in it. I was like, shit.
That is crazy. That those are just gone.
Yeah, and we still use discs to this day. I mean, you can still, PS5, Xbox One.
Hmm.
We still use discs, but usually it's mainly for gaming nowadays.
Yeah, that is weird. I mean, you can still buy like physical movie discs, I guess, but like most people stream, so hmm.
Yeah, yeah. If I had a Netflix subscription, I would still stream. But I'll tell you what, there's just something about owning the movie. Hell, I still have a VHS tape of the Transformers movie from back in the '80s.
Hmm. Yeah.
That was, and that
VHS is
was,
cool.
and an actor who voiced a character, and that was actually his last acting role, a legendary actor by the name of Orson Welles.
I've heard, yeah.
And he voiced, I cannot remember the name of the bot right now. Unicron. Yeah, he voiced Unicron, and that was his last voicing. And he died, I think it was like a couple weeks later after laying down the voice track for it.
That's kind of freaky.
Hmm. Yeah, he was old, and they had to use some audio mixing to clean up the voice a bit, but it was yeah, because he was in what they call one of the best movies of all time, Citizen Kane, which I didn't
Hmm.
think Citizen Kane was that good. We watched it in school. I was like, it's all right, but I'll see how it's the greatest movie ever made, as they claimed.
Well, I've certainly heard of it, so
Hmm. Yeah, watching it would be pretty damn boring, but yeah, at least that's the thing, you've heard of it. That's just how well known it was.
yeah, I know people that have talked about it even to this day, but I'm not much of a movie watcher, so just although the movies I do like are 80s movies, so there you go.
Nice. What's a couple of them, real quick?
Well, I'm sure you can guess one because it's a super great NES game too. Definitely wasn't ruined by LJN or anything. Got clocks and bowling balls and stuff.
Oh yes, that would be Bill and Ted.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That game's surprisingly worse.
Oh, Back to the Future is the other one, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Bill and Ted's surprisingly worse, but yes, those were, and Bill and Ted was good series, and also yeah,
Yeah, the
Back to the
game
Future.
is just surprisingly worse than the Back to the Future game, which Back to the Future game is not good.
Well, But yeah, back to see it's weird. Back to the Future, like one, sort of iffy. Have you ever tried playing the two and three?
It's much, much worse.
Yes, the task is like an hour and a half.
The tasks. That's actually
Yes.
crazy. I thought like the game took 20 hours.
Yeah, well, casually it would, but yeah, the task. I think it was like an hour and a half. It may have been longer, but yeah, it was one of the longer tasks I've seen.
Oh, okay.
And and I watched it because I wanted to see what that game was like. I was like, now I'll never have to play it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've heard things. I didn't have I had the NES game, the original, so and I think that's what got me into the movie and now it's my favorite movie, so.
Oh yeah, there's nothing. Can't
But
say
the
a bad
game.
thing about. You can't say a bad thing about Back to the Future series. I mean, they're
Oh
all
god
three of
no.
them are great.
Mhm. The game though, LJN moment.
Yes. Uh, I think the worst Back to the Future game was actually Back to the Future 3 on the Genesis. Did you ever play that one?
I have heard I have seen a little bit. It is ugh.
Try to get past the first screen. Next time you stream, you got a little time, and you want, and, you know, even on emulator, you can toy around with it. Try to get past that first level, and it'll make you never want to play Back to the Future again.
Yeah, I'm good. I don't need my outlook tainted,
No,
so we're good. I've definitely seen like the AVGN video though, so I have an idea.
yeah,
I think
it's
that's all I need.
yeah, that's all you need. After that, the game's easy. I never got past it. I just watched the tasks as always. Whenever I get to a difficult game and just can't get through it, and that's one cool thing about tasks is yeah, we talked about speedrunning, but tasks is where I think a lot of people got introduced to tasks first,
Hmm.
especially the infamous Super Mario 3 tasks that came out many years ago. Who I forgot the good gentleman who
It's
ran
like
that, but
Morimoto. I'm probably saying it wrong, but something like that.
yeah, nobody knew. I didn't know what a task was, and when somebody showed me that, I was like, "Oh my god, this guy's amazing!" And then when he was going through the Air Force auto scroller in Mario 3, he's sitting there going back and forth when he didn't have to. I was like, "Oh, this guy just showboating now," and
Hmm.
and now people can actually beat that task, and it's like, Then when I found out about tool assisted speedruns, I was like, wow, this is a new way to look at it because once you realize you're watching a movie. That's why they call them movies. You're watching a performance of pushing a game to its limits, and a lot of our speed runs that we have done, we have based it off of tasks on what we can and can't do.
Hmm.
And going with Mario One Nafisky, he's doing almost everything in the task that's possible. You with Lost Levels, you've done almost what the task can do with it because you have that record
Well,
now, don't you?
no, but
Oh, I thought you had lost. Oh, my apologies. I thought you had Lost Levels. Annie.
oh god no.
Oh.
I bet you can guess who does though.
No, is it Cosmic? No,
Not
Nafisky.
Nenny. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Nafisky has the Annie. Cosmic has the all levels and A through D.
Yes. Well, warpless, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I never saw Cosmic get a live world record. And I was randomly watching his stream one day, and it happened.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I guess just peek in more often, or actually do
Yeah.
that to me.
Okay, I'll have to do that to you,
No.
man. Pop in and help you out there get that. But yeah, it's and same thing happened to Dardian too. I popped in his stream and he got the infamous PB where he knocked his camera off the TV.
Oh, you popped in for the 456. Damn.
Yep,
That's a big one right there. And maybe
yep,
the
that was.
biggest one.
Hmm.
Well, I don't know.
It
That's an opinion. So,
well, it is a big moment. I mean, it was a huge barrier. It's the last second that will ever be broke in it, and
and then it wasn't, but at the time.
yeah, at the time we never thought anything else. And then seeing the flagpole glitches introduced and watching that develop, that was a very cool time in speedrunning just to see the process of that happening because I saw the thing the stock folder had out and people were learning from it and I was just sitting there watching everybody. I think I had like 3 or 4 streams up just watching people trying to learn it, and then once it started being put into runs I was like, It's like, holy shit, these guys are crazy. They're going for the super hard, and now it's just like regular to pull off, where it gets like no pop at all.
Yeah, you can do it first try with one hand on GDQ stage now. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, I've never learned it. In fact, I think my SMB1 PB is I think it's either a 508 or a 512. I can't remember. I did baby strats in 1-2 where I took the mushroom and went up top.
Hey, it works.
That's the only way I know how to do the wrong warp in 4-2 is to be big and duck under so the screen slides a bit. That's the only way I know how to do it. I don't know how to do the bumps or anything else. So, I never really grinded Mario. I've appreciated everybody who's ran the game, but it's a little too perfection based for my taste.
Hmm. Well, it's kind of how we met because that was around the time you tried out Warpless for the
Hmm.
Warpless tournament at the time. So, and that was probably one of the first ones I entered.
Yeah, and what really surprised me was I wasn't expecting to win any matches at all, and I think I won like my first two or something. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I mean, people that join tournaments aren't like always top runners, so everyone has a
No,
shot.
yeah, I figured I was going to get knocked out, second or third round, and then then third round I was like, okay, yep, I got my ass kicked. But it's not one of my main games. I just did it to kill the monotony between running Zelda, and I've entered a lot of tournaments I don't run, just to kill that monotony with a video game. Um, I think what's the craziest? I joined a Dr. Mario tournament once, which is really hard for me
Hmm.
to play. I cannot see green or yellow very well. I am colorblind, so
Oh,
so playing Dr. Mario was a little bit of a weird thing. I tried and I couldn't do nothing. I was like, well, I beat one person, I think, and then after that I just withdrew. I was like, I can't do this no more.
hmm. Was that red, yellow, and blue are the pills?
Yes, yeah.
So,
So,
what is that to you then?
well, okay. So with the way I see things, it's like I know what green looks like, I know what yellow looks like, but when they're mixed with other colors, it sort of blends in.
Oh,
And if I'm looking at green or yellow by itself, it does like have a brownish gray tint to it.
oh, huh.
Mhm. Yeah, it's hard to explain. I've shown like a still shot of basically what I see. Now I do have those glasses that will let me see it, so I know what it looks like.
Hmm.
However, after what they don't tell you about those glasses, after about 30 minutes, you get a migraine because it's too intense. It's stuff you're processing that you're not used to processing.
Oh,
So
huh.
yeah, because your mind isn't used to taking all that in. It's like when you wear glasses for the first time, you're seeing stuff clearer than what you used to. So it's just and it's darker too with those glasses. It is a darker image that you see, so you can't wear them casually around.
Hmm. I'm learning.
Mhm.
I've never personally had any like eye issues, so it's
Yeah,
interesting to just learn.
and like a majority of my clothing is actually red and black because I see those vests. And like all my gaming chairs you've ever seen in my streams are either red or black, just because that's what I associate the best with.
Well, mine's red and
And
black, so that
yeah,
works out.
yeah, and then even my Mister. Oh, whoa, hello, camera.
Oh
Bye.
no.
I got you. Anyway, my Mister is even red. So
Ooh, look at that.
yeah, yeah, Mister is even red. So okay, see if I can get this balanced back up here
Yeah.
now.
Mr. School.
I,
Just with how many stuff it can emulate,
Come on,
especially
camera.
arcade, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, or the arcade games are pretty good on it. Turtles is available on TMNT and it plays really well. Uh, Double Dragon 1 is you can do that, and it has. I didn't realize how much that game lagged until I played it as an adult. I played it in the arcades as a kid all the time. I was like, holy crap, this game lags. But yeah, I need to do another update on it and see what else is coming out because it automatically puts the arcade cores on there, so it's really nice about that.
Hmm. Yep. Trying to think of other things I haven't brought up yet. I mean, are there any? Any runs that are notable that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, a couple other games that I'm not really known from running. I'll go and say, I did learn the run to ActRaiser 2. Most people are familiar with the first ActRaiser game,
Mm-hmm.
but 2, there's no sim mode. It's just a lot of, it's action screens left and right. And I tell you what, it's a challenge. My blind playthrough was like 13 hours just to get through it, and I decided to learn the run, and I took second place for a while in the game, and then I just quit running it because it got so frustrating.
Yeah.
But I watched PJ's run when he did it a couple GDQs, and then he actually does the run on hard mode on that. I just did it on normal. There's even a harder mode called, I think it's difficulty 502, where you type in password and it's like a hack difficulty where some enemies take like over 200 hits and some enemies kill you in one hit.
Hmm.
It's a PJ run, it's crazy. I mean, because everybody knows PJ is one of the most he knows a lot of games. He knows some hard ones, and he's just good at games in general. I would say he's probably one of the best casual gamers that can speedrun.
Got it.
Yeah, he's very good. Very cool dude. And then another NES speedrun I'd like to touch on that a lot of people don't know, but has ran more NES games than anybody, is Rayquaza 911. You ever heard of him?
I think so.
Yeah. He has ran. I don't know what his run count is on SRSRC, but it's like it's probably close to like 500 to 1,000. I mean, he's
Oh
ran
my
so
god.
many games, and that's who I worked with. Not him and the Straw is who I worked with on Nightmare on Elm Street when we were coming up with things for that game.
Yeah, you usually hear like author blues and chardcore and
Hmm.
Nest Cardinality for
Yep.
like the big, the large back. I don't know what you'd even call it, just list of everything ever. So
Yeah, and yeah, Ray's even done runs on GBA, Game Boy Color. In fact, we all three of us, we did a blind race of the Castlevania Game Boy trilogy games,
mm,
and you know, Castlevania: The Adventure is probably one of the worst Castlevania games ever made. 4 levels. The game runs at like 8 frames, so you move half the speed. You get hit once, you lose your whip upgrade. There's no sub weapons, and the third stage is a complete auto scroller that takes I think 9 minutes.
sounds great. Where do I sign up?
Yeah, but they corrected it with the Belmont's Revenge was his more popular one, and Legends was actually phenomenal too. All three of those games were great.
Hmm. And
But yeah,
those
we
are all
used
Game Boy.
yeah, Game Boy.
All
And
right.
then another game I'm doing for the NES Aussie is one Ray talked me into. It's called Kid Clown and Nightmare World. It's a really fun game. It's a clone of a Famicom game that had Mickey Mouse in it, but they couldn't do that in the States, so they gave you a clown. And it's got some weird speed mechanics. It's momentum based, and you move really fast in it if you just keep your momentum and use balloons to bounce and do skips. It's a pretty fun casual game. I mean, I think my blind playthrough was like 30 minutes, and it's maybe 40, but it's very entertaining for a definitely off the wall game.
Yeah, that's what's cool about like, lesser known, maybe bad old games is sometimes they just have cool stuff in them that you wouldn't see because
Mhm.
like who knows what this is.
Yeah, there's the NES has some very mythical games that are like some that you've never heard of that are amazing, that some that you never heard of that you never should play.
Mm-hmm.
Like
No
if
in
you're going,
between.
yeah, no in between. If you're going down the unlicensed path,
Oh god.
step carefully.
Oh, the
Um,
unlicensed path is fascinating,
yeah.
for lack
Um,
of
I
a better
reckon
term.
I recommend one for you to check out. It's a game called Escape from Atlantis. If you've never checked it out,
I've never even heard of that one.
yeah. If you have a good pack on your EverDrive, I guarantee it's on there. it's you won't know what to do at the beginning, so you have to look up some walkthrough because it does not tell you, and it looks like the graphics are almost like Microsoft Paint-ish.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's really it's a weird game. I did beat it, and I'm not proud of it, but I did.
Well, it'd be like
Yeah,
that sometimes.
yeah, it's one of those, and they're just. But I mean, then I've played some good unlicensed games. Try to think of one good one off the top of my head.
It's hard to find one.
Well, Battle Kid, for example. Well, that's more like a fan game that was made. But
Hmm.
it's a newer game for the NES. But Battle
Yeah,
Kid's
that's like
amazing.
home. I consider that more homebrew. Unlicensed is
Right.
like what,
Yeah.
ho, you know,
Hold
unofficial, not licensed by Nintendo games that came out during like the
right.
actual lifespan of the console.
Hold on one sec. Let me look at my unlicensed list real quick.
But
Da,
it
da,
is an
da,
interesting
da,
distinction. I guess it doesn't really matter at the end
da.
of the day. They are unlicensed.
Um, da, 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 da. I know there's one on here. It's got. Uh, darn it, cannot remember the name of it right now. Well, Indiana Jones Temple of Doom was unlicensed as well. Damn, I didn't know Clax was unlicensed. Apparently that was, and that was a pretty popular game.
Hmm. Maybe just the port was unlicensed for NES.
Oh well, Tengen released it. That's why it was a
Oh yeah,
Tengen card.
Tengens are pretty popular.
Yeah. So yeah, the Gauntlet games were Tengen games. So yeah, you could say that. Yeah, that's probably one of the best ones in the Gauntlet.
Oh, hmm. I didn't know that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, there are obviously some good ones. I know a lot of ports from other things that maybe Nintendo didn't want on their system went kind of through that. Like Afterburner, the Sega game, had a Tengen port on NES.
Hmm.
So I just find that whole history fascinating because as time goes on, you don't like see unlicensed stuff because you can just release whatever at a certain point. So it's but back in the day when rules were more strict because companies had like larger monopolies on everything and it was
Yeah.
also new, like the seal of quality or whatever wasn't exactly available to everyone, so there's a lot of more questionable content.
Yeah, when the crash happened in '83, I can actually I was only a few years old, but I do remember it, believe it or not. Yeah,
Mm.
I was 3 years old playing video games. I remember playing at Atari at that age, and I do remember, when I still have my ET card. I still have it, and it still works. I do know how to beat the game, sadly. But that Miss Pac-Man, they just oversaturated the market. And then when Nintendo came out, it was like I remember in '85 we got it, and of course Mario's first game. Almost everybody played that had Nintendo, and it was just like, wow, the difference between going from the Atari stuff to this, because I didn't have a Commodore. We didn't have that Commodore 64. I didn't have the Magnavox Odyssey, which that's not really a video game console if you call it that. You just put a thing on the screen and play it. But
Yeah, but that was
um,
like the first, so
mhm.
it gets that credit, I guess.
Yes, it does. But yeah, just seeing what the Nintendo did versus what the Atari did, and then seeing just the direction it went from there. It's hard to believe just something that came out in '85, and it still works strong to this day, and it's still great. There's a lot of kids growing up now that have never played a Nintendo game. They've played Minecraft, they played Fortnite, they played Call of Duty, they've played all the shoot, what's those other over popular games? Overwatch, just that's all they know. They don't know where it began, and I would feel if they went and tried the beginning, they're going like, ew, no, it looks horrible. Then you realize a game does not have to have good graphics to be good.
Hmm.
It just has to play good. Controls is the most important factor I look for in any video game.
Yeah, and then like super nice looking games can be dog shit too. It goes
Yeah,
both ways.
Batman and Robin on the Sega on the Super Nintendo, prime example. It looks amazing, but boy, it's horrible.
Mm. I know there's
Um,
a Genesis Batman game that looks really cool. Like they do some cool stuff with the something or other. I don't know. It just
yeah,
looks cool.
yeah, yeah. That's I think that's the one based off the animated series, if I
Mm.
recall.
Maybe.
Because there was a Batman they did put on the Genesis, based off the first movie. However, it's gameplay is it's all right. It's a good game, but it's a little too auto scrolly. Like the car and the Batwing section are like almost like 15 minutes of the game,
Mm.
and the game's like 25 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the stages are really short. But it's it's a good game though. It's great casually. In fact, very few Batman games have been bad. Like at least on the Nintendo, all the Batman games are good. Super Nintendo, they weren't bad. Just Batman and Robin, we pretend it shouldn't exist, but it does. Like the Mario Brothers movie from '80, whatever. It shouldn't exist, but it does.
And boy, is it exist.
Mhm. But they redeemed themselves with the Mario movie that came out last year, though. That was a you saw that one, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Opening
had
day.
high hopes for it. I had really high hopes because the Sonic movie, when that came out, that was phenomenal.
It's pretty
And
good.
then
Yeah.
I was like, hey, I got hopes for this. And everyone's like, oh, Chris Pratt doesn't sound like Mario. Well, it's not like they didn't get Bob Hoskins to do it. He's dead. They can't get Captain Lou Albano to do it. He's dead. So, and Charles Martinet's voice was going bad. And I'm glad he did the little cameo, but I would not want to hear that woohoo stuff for, an hour and a half. I'm
Yeah.
glad they gave us a voice we could understand and relate to that wasn't high pitched the whole time. And I hope they do a sequel. I really do. And Jack Black as Bowser just made that movie
Oh
happen.
God, that was the highlight easily.
Uh,
Yeah.
the Peaches song, I'll tell you what, I shouldn't have laughed as hard as I did when I first heard that. Because it's not a good song.
That is the point. Yeah.
But then yeah, I hear the movie, it's great. Then he performs it live in the Bowser costume and just crawling on the stage, just peaches, peaches, just getting into it. And you got to appreciate art like that. And that's another thing video games have done. They have really given us an art form to look at and appreciate. There's been some good movies with video games and some bad movies with video games. I think the first successful movie to video game I can think of was actually the first Mortal Kombat movie when that came out.
Hmm. Is that
Yeah, it was.
considered good?
Yes, at the
Okay.
time it was actually number one in the box office for a little while.
Oh wow. Okay.
hmm
Damn.
Yeah, now Annihilation we don't talk about. That one doesn't exist.
Okay,
But
that's the one I hear about then.
mhm. Yeah, but no, the first Mortal Kombat movie it did really well in the theaters, and I forgot what it was up against, but yeah, it was number one for a couple weeks.
That's cool. Because
hmm
I always hear like video game adaptations back in the day were always horrible, but now they're finally starting to like not be,
hmm
and I
Well,
love that.
the Tomb Raider and Resident Evil franchises, those were greatest movies, and they knocked those out of the park. I'm very glad they've never done a Zelda movie. I think if they did, they would have to do it animated, just like they've done with the Mario movies. I think that's the route they need to go with the classic video game movies. They really do. And there's an infamous director. His name is Uwe Boll. He directed some of the worst video game movies ever made. See here, Alone in the Dark, Postal. Um, what what's that one light gun game? Something House of the Dead. Yes,
Oh, oh.
and how they did the scenes where they're shooting the zombies. They never showed what he was shooting. They did a 360 camera going around everybody that was shooting.
Hmm.
It was like one of the worst movies. And Blood Rain. You remember that game on the PlayStation, right?
Nope.
Man, I'm old.
I
So,
I never
but,
had like PlayStation, so
mm,
I'm just not
okay,
familiar.
yeah. Well, Blood Rain was actually a decent game. It had to do with like a half breed vampire human character that you played, and it was like sort of during the infamous time in Germany history where they don't like to talk about, the Nazi time, and
Yeah.
it tied into that. So it was like Wolfenstein, you had to kill Nazis, so it was cool.
Got it.
But
Or
so
zombies.
Yes. But what it went into, it was like the movie itself. They turn into the person who played her was Christina Loken. She was in the third Terminator movie and played the female Terminator. And they over sexualized her in the movie, and they just had to. And they, I mean, it was a piece of work. They even Meatloaf, the singer, had a cameo role in the movie, and they used him as like a pimp, and I'm like, this ain't working. No, no, why? But yeah, it was a really weird adaptation.
Hmm. Well, I'm glad things are better now.
Hmm.
It took them a while, and boy, in that time between, that era of video game adaptations and now, there was nothing because they just gave up. They could not do it. But now they're doing it, and it's great.
Yes, it is.
Thank
Sorry to go
God.
off topic. Sorry to go off topic there for a
Oh
bit,
no,
but
I don't care. I mean, I'm kind of running out of things to ask. We kind of covered all the important stuff, I think, unless I've missed something. Like,
um, nah, yeah, we nailed the important stuff. I mean, there's always unimportant stuff, but we nailed all the, we pretty much hit every topic of my speedrunning stuff on the nail on the head. All the stuff I've been known for while I got into it, and I don't know how long I'll keep doing it. But like I said, as long as my hands still work, we're good.
well, do you have any like future plans that you can think of at the moment?
Uh, nah, not right now. Other than I'm working on the Odyssey stuff. I may find a game from this to grind on a bit. I may go back to doing a. No way, I won't do that anymore. I did a Zelda trilogy fix for a while. I was running Zelda 1, Zelda 2, and Link to the Past back to back to back. And we created a category for that. And a few people's ran it. We have one for that trilogy, the Game Boy trilogy. Then we have the Unholy trilogy, which is the CDI
Oh,
games.
good God.
Yeah, those are fun. JSR made me play them when I went to his house for the first time. That was my price of admission.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
classic AVGN trials. You gotta,
yeah.
gotta do them all.
I can't believe he did all those games that he did. That just, I mean, he did them all. He didn't do every single episode, but he did like the first 200, and he'd saved the Kaya Warriors for last, and he busted it out. No ABBA.
Yeah. That, ugh. It's
It's always
crazy.
cool to see people who do these long projects pay off. Like TMR was like the first one with the big one,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
now now Spike Vegeta's working on the SNES titles.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Thab the Beast, he's
Mm-hmm.
working on Nintendo 64. Sharpie did all the Sega and Sega CD games, which is
Oh.
well over 1,000.
Do you mean Genesis and CD?
Yes,
Okay.
and yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, I meant to say it, but yeah, he did Sega Genesis, Sega CD, Sega 32X.
Oh, 32X too.
Yeah, there's not many of those
Well,
games, but
yeah, but
still.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think he's starting to do Saturn. I heard something of that, but I'm not sure. But yeah, he did all these titles. I mean, it was like 12, 1,300 of them. And yeah, went through all those. I would like to tackle a system that nobody's done, but I just don't have the time to invest in doing that. I wish I did. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to go into the TurboGrafx library. It's one of the most, I love the system, but there's a couple games in there I would not want to play, like Prince of Persia. And yeah, there's some weird games on the TurboGrafx, especially once you get into the CD based games. Yeah, there's some really weird ones. The Cho Aniki series is one of my favorite. If you have never seen a Cho Aniki game, it is hilariously absurd and surreal at the same time.
Well, I haven't heard of it, so.
Well, so if you have a way to do TurboGrafx, I recommend just playing one. Don't watch a video of it because the reaction you would have to it is priceless. It's the only thing I will tell you about it. It uses a lot of Japanese humor involving two muscular guys wearing tights and the most hilarious clean faction you will ever see. and they play like shooters. I mean, you're floating through like doing like a space shooter, but the
Mm,
movements are like Street Fighter controls to throw different attacks.
sure.
Mhm. Yeah, they're very
Certainly
creative
unique.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Japan came out with some glorious titles for all systems, as we know. I mean, Pepsi Man, the
Oh, hell
PlayStation.
yeah.
I played through that recently, and my God, that game's a lot harder than I thought it would be.
Oh, that game is just fun to watch.
Mhm.
It's absurd.
Yeah, and I'm known for my Pepsi stuff. That's so it was
Pepsi for
fitting.
TV game.
Yes. In fact, one of my friends who's a Coke fan sent her a picture of me pouring a Pepsi into a Coke glass,
Hmm.
just to be evil.
No, yeah. I mean, I'm a Coke drinker myself, but Pepsi's fine too. I'll have it. So I
I'll
got no
I'll drink
issues.
I'll drink Coke if nothing as well. But in Europe, Coke tastes a lot better than Pepsi, so I will drink Coke in Europe.
Mm. I got to have my first what they call Mexican Coke at a
Oh,
restaurant at AGDQ. It was that
nice.
it was that God, what was it? It was like a ramen place that was kind of nearby. And
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, and oh, well, first of all, the food was good because I've never like gone to a ramen place before, but yeah, Mexican Coke. Yes. They
Yes,
did it. They made it better.
yes, yes, they did. Yeah, in the wrong context, saying Mexican Coke would come out to be a bad thing, but in this context, it's a good thing.
Yes, I mean in the context of the drink. Coca-Cola. Let's not clip this out of context, please.
Oh no, nobody's ever had a clip out of context on Twitch. You know this.
Never. Never
No,
had to deal with that ever in my life.
no, I don't follow that account streamers out of context on Twitter or X, whatever they call it now.
Yeah, never. Totally unpopular. Anyway.
Yeah. I always hate the Twitter rename too. I still can't call it X. And I
I
was
never
showing
will.
no, and I was showing somebody at work something on Twitter. Of course, I can't type x.com on a work computer.
Mm.
That can be bad. So I just type in Twitter and it reverts to it.
Like even where I have your links on stream, it still says Twitter. Like
Hmm.
no, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean it still reverts thankfully, but yeah, I can't call it X. I'm sorry, it's a tweet. It's not a whatever they call it now.
No, that site is a hellscape, but unfortunately, I get my speedrun news from there, so it's good
Hell,
for
we all
that.
do. We all do. That's there in Discord.
Yeah. So, just unfortunate that it's still like the best place to reach the whole community, but everything else is complete horrible dog shit. So,
Yes. But it works for how we use it, for what we use it, and it's a good tool when used properly. And you know,
but boy, are they trying to ruin that.
oh yeah, you gotta ruin all the good stuff, man. You can't have anything bad in there. Everything, like everything, anything good has to turn bad at one point on the internet.
May speedrunning stay pure forever. That is the hope.
Yes. Let's keep it mediocre, so it's never good, so it's never bad. It's just right.
That's a good way of looking at it. All right. That's the mindset I'll have.
Yeah, keep it.
Mediocrity. That's the way.
Yes. Yeah, keep it just right.
All right. Well, if we've covered everything, I think we're good. So,
Yeah, yeah, I've talked a lot more than I thought I was going to on this. This is actually, like I said, my first full blown podcast type thing like this I've ever done. So
yeah, I
I
heard
de-
you've had many attempts
yeah.
and they have all failed. So, I'm happy to break the curse here.
Well,
We've done
three of those five actually went under, and they just never produced another episode. So yeah,
mm,
I'm very fortunate to actually be on one. And like I said, thank you, Ace, for the invite. It's I definitely appreciate you reaching out and having me on here.
yeah, and thank you for being on. It's nice to learn about more speedrunning Zelda stuff and got into some other topics and I learned some things there too. So, That's why I do
Yeah,
this, right? Knowledge.
yeah,
Very
and knowledge is
important knowledge, too, of course.
knowledge is power.
That's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a. I think that was a reference on one of those kid shows, like Electric Company or no, what was it? Knowledge. That could have been High School Rock. I think they did something with that too.
No, I wouldn't know. All I do is play video games.
Unfortunately, I know way too much random stuff. So yeah, that's more. Hopefully, I didn't fill your head too much of random stuff today.
I mean, that's what I'm here for, so this
Hmm.
is the path I've decided to tread down, so it's my fault if I hate it. So I can't be too upset.
Nah. It's like I said, it was a blast, man. I appreciate it and taking the time out to do this. This 2.5 hours went by fast.
It really did. Like, damn.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd make it 2.5 hours after not sleeping and working 9 hours. So, but yeah, that yeah, it went by super quick. I never would have thought.
Well, uh, get some rest, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a little nap and then get up and go to a barcade with the buddies. So yeah, and all that good shit. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. This will be up on YouTube in a few hours once I get it all uploaded. I'll be doing recording another episode tomorrow for those that are watching live because I'll be out of town next Sunday. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it next Sunday. That's how we do it. But yeah, thanks again for being on. Thanks everyone for watching, and just see you next time, I guess. Take care. Bye bye.